Dana, I want to thank you for coming on the show to share your story with our viewers and our listeners. Could you briefly tell us what's going on in your life and in your K-12 career right now?
It is God's evidence personified. He is truly blessing me right now. I am at a point in my life of seeing intentional goals be manifested. And so I'm getting international conferences right now, speaking engagements locally and statewide, state conferences. And it's just a good time right now for me.
That's really good. Wow. So what is your current position right now in K-12 education?
I am a history teacher, and I just found out today, helping with dual enrollment as well. And on the side, because I've done this since 2012, I am an adjunct history professor, but online instead of on campus, of course, because I'm in another state. And I've been doing that for the Southern University system at Shreveport for a long time, since 2012.
Wow. So that's 10 years.
Longevity.
Yes, for sure. So tell me more. We got to dig deeper into that. So you have been an online adjunct at LSU, right? Or as you said,
Southern University.
Southern University. Okay. So yeah, LSU and Southern,
that's right.
Yeah, they're connected at the hips, especially in Baton Rouge, but it sounds like it's the same in Shreveport. Okay. I know a little bit about Louisiana. I used to live there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to live in Shreveport. Actually got married in Shreveport. That's a whole nother story, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, Southern University, online. Tell me more about that. How does that work?
Well, I was based on campus. I started out with dual enrollment under the great Sora of mine, Sandra Bigham, where I would help as a high school teacher, helping with dual enrollment for kids to get college credit. And then as I became a master teacher in DeSoto Parish, I helped with that as well. And so I then moved into the adjunct realm with Dr. Lonnie McCrae. And it's just been a wonderful experience. That on-campus thing, I teach African-American studies, American history up until the Civil War and after the Civil War. So those are my three specialties, and I love it. It's just been a great experience. You'll be surprised, a majority of the students that are minority on campus that take my class are foreigners. Kuwait, Dubai, they come with these full scholarships and they're ready to learn. And they would even drive up from Louisiana Tech University just to take my class. So,
wow.
But I also try to pour into my college students by making sure that they get a letter of recommendation from me for their 4-year university as they move on from a 2-year university for, whatever it is that they need in life, because I want to pour back into them as well. That's
awesome. So yeah, that gives you a unique perspective, especially when you work with your high school students, because you know what's waiting for them when they get to college, because you're also at college as well.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
So
I've been teaching, and I apologize, I've been teaching history since 2002.
Okay, that was my next question. So hey, great minds think alike. You actually started in 2002, so 20 years, all right? And that's a long time. What do you love most about K-12 education?
I love that K-12 education teachers, because I started out as a paraprofessional. From paraprofessional to sub to whatever your title is, you're preparing them to be citizens of the world.
Sure.
You're preparing them for things that they may not necessarily get at home. Sometimes we're the on-campus parents to be able to provide what they need verbiage-wise, clothes-wise, mindset-wise to prepare them for the work.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what do you like least about K-12 education?
The mindsets of some. Like I never went in the teacher's lounge. And I often remember walking back on a certain campus after being gone for 8 years, and they were upset that I was the assistant principal. Well, you had 8 years to get the thing done. I'm sorry that I got 2 master's degrees in that time. But hey, I'm here. I don't like certain mindsets. And I also don't like that, when we grew up, we had to listen.
Sure.
We couldn't speak up. We couldn't speak against. No longer is there kinesthetic and auditory learning. There are 10 different multiple intelligences. There's neurodiversity now, and we've got to be the change agents to be able to deal with that. Biden just put out a plan for every state, but particularly the state that I'm in now, Texas. And he's saying that, unemployment is down and all these things are going on, but still there's a projected recession. So with that projected recession, how are we going to be able to deal with the behaviors?
That's true. That's very true.
Of those that still want their kids in good schools as they move into better school systems or districts. As you're encountering new cultures and diversity, how are you going to deal with those particular children if you've never dealt with them before?
Wow.
And then the neurodiversity aspect. If I'm high functioning autistic and you don't know it just by looking at me, how are you going to deal with me if there's a meltdown or I need a break? Or I need to be able to have extra accommodated time to finish something?
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, that's a good segue into my next question. You know, the worldwide pandemic has negatively impacted many staff and students and families. How has the pandemic impacted you and your family and your career?
It was scary when it first hit. And my son called me, he's military, and he was like, Mom, you're always boasting about you got a plan A, B, and C. What is the B and C? Because I don't want you in Louisiana. I want you somewhere more structured.
Sure.
While this is going on so I can get to you. And so by way of a friend, I was able to get a job in Texas at the school that I'm at now. And thank God, my boss at Southern University System, Dr. McCrae, said, you know, he's going to keep me online. But it was a significant change for me because I wanted to move more into mental health, but I don't have a mental health background. So God blessed me to be able to work with children in a therapeutic setting that are neurodiverse. And so now here I am able to help them with social skills, self-esteem, academics, and still be successful in this pandemic.
Sure.
So at first it was very scary, but for me, it has been a blessing for me. I don't have to deal with some of the teachers are dealing with, because I'm a positive person. I don't like to talk negative, but some teachers have to deal with the PTSD of certain things that are occurring, of trying to keep your family safe, trying to be safe and get home and all of that. I'm in a more smaller structure in K-12, but yet the work is still being done.
Absolutely. So so you have been in K-12 education since 2002, 20 plus year. Has the majority of your time been in Louisiana or in Texas, or is it kind of split down the middle?
A mixture, because I came to Texas in 2009 to 2012 as an assistant principal. And I had the nerve to want to get married and move home. And so I moved home and it didn't work out.
Okay.
So I just told myself I would always come back to Texas, and it just kind of fell in my lap. So here I am.
Wow. So you have been an administrator. Like, what are your short and long-term goals as a K-12 educator?
I'm glad you asked, because I work with a coach by the name of Miss D. Thomas at Anchored with Excellence, because during this pandemic, I decided that I wanted to coach and be coachable to further what I wanted to do. So we work with SMART goals. We work with daily, short-term, and long-term goals. And in answering your question, my short-term goals are to build within my inner circle, to make sure they give me constructive criticism and I help support their goals. Networking, to make sure, because we couldn't network during the pandemic, networking more to make sure that I'm giving back to the community, whether it's through my sorority, whether it's through junior league, or whether it's through me in civic and education engagement. And then finally, my own personal development of making sure that I stick to self-care, short-term and long-term goals. For example, I have a self-care calendar. My goal for the week for self-care is at least 3 days a week, I do something for myself. Even if I don't make 3, I should hit 2 out of the 3 goals.
Sure.
It could be a manicure. It could be reading a book. It could be brunch. It could be going to walk through the rose garden. It could be anything. But I have to make time for me, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
100%. Totally agree with you. That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like you're a lifelong learner as well, right? Is that correct?
I am the life is longer. Yes, I'm a life.
So is there a doctorate in your future?
It is there. And I often use my doctorate research information when I speak, because when you have these speaking engagements and in conferences, it has to be research based.
Sure.
So I am a doctoral candidate at North Central University. It has, the doctoral program is kind of fun. Some people take 6 years, some 4, some longer. I've just decided to pace myself and get it done.
That's awesome. So when do you plan on finishing that doctorate?
In the next year or two. I'm not rushing it.
Oh, it's coming, right? It's coming.
It's coming. I'm at the end stage. It's coming.
Wow.
But however, we are in a pandemic with a projected recession.
100%. How do you maintain work-life balance as a K-12 educator?
Loving on me.
Okay. Self-care.
If I've had to learn in my personal development, everybody says to set boundaries. I do set boundaries, but I set time up to make sure that I feel valued.
Okay.
So I make sure again that I set self-care dates. I have happy weight. I've gained some weight, but it's only because I enjoy me. So I try to run. I run like a turtle, but I run. I try to kickbox. I try to do other things. Try to enjoy friends. My son, again, is military. Try to visit him and the grand twins and the wife when I get a chance. Just trying to prioritize me so that when I prioritize me, I can be able to help others.
That's awesome. You need to coin that term, happy weight. I've never heard of that one. That's good.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely happy weight.
Love it.
And I'll be happy when I eat everything and drink everything. Just
100%. So Dana, if you had to do it all over again, would you still have made the decision to work as a K-12 educator?
Yes. Believe it or not, when everybody was in high school, their senior year doing DECA, working at McDonald's or Burger King, because, I'm about to be, I had a great opportunity to be, and people don't know this, to be an intern at the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office because I wanted to be a lawyer or a history teacher. It's so funny and ironic. I didn't want to be a lawyer after that because I felt it was so much writing, only to be writing now. So if I had it to do all over again, I think that I would have taken the same course because I didn't teach for 4 years until I went into administration. I just think that I would have better aligned myself, even though I'm a lifelong learner, more professional development of how to help all the way around. Because I first got in it to help children. Then I want to help children and teachers and then the community, but just more knowledgeable of the government aspect, the civic aspect, and so forth.
That's awesome. Thank you. So Dana, I want to thank you for coming on the My K12 Career Show today. But before you leave, could you please give K-12 educators around the world that are watching you right now some parting words of wisdom? Tell us how we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye. Okay. I will say that you can connect with me on Instagram or Facebook through Making Learning Sparkle. Also through Making Learning Sparkle, that's my brand. And you can also connect with me through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is awesome. Yes. However, and anytime, I want to leave you with this. Life doesn't give us a blueprint, but we have to learn to move from decision making to decision management. Repeat that, please. Please repeat that. Life does not give us a blueprint. We don't have any blueprint of how to do it. However, you have to go from decision making to decision management. You can make decisions, but when those decisions go awry or something is a bump in the road, how will you manage it? Wow. Are you going to react or are you going to respond? Because there's a difference. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Wow. Well, that's amazing. I have to take that. And I will give you full credit for it, Dana. I promise you. But go from decision making to decision management. Love it. Yeah, that's very, very powerful. If you don't mind, one thing that I got from my mom, because she was such a hard worker, single mom raising 4 kids. She was such a hard worker. I did not build relationships. That's another thing I would have changed. I'm building relationships now. And it's not that I didn't want to, it's just in my mindset as a Sunday school teacher and things in the church and outside of the church, I would do things and then pretend that I delegated while the whole time taking on the project by myself. You don't have to take on everything by yourself. Learn to build relationships. And that's where my brand came from. I'm trying to build relationships while making learning sparkle. I love that. Yeah. So thank you so much, because I was going to ask you a little bit about your brand. Did you want to elaborate a little bit? My brand came about because I just have to be honest with you. I wrote a column in the newspaper and I was told that you couldn't write that. And I said, why? And they said, well, you know, it's under your name and
you can't do that. So I said, well, let me come up with a branding name.
Okay.
And from making learning sparkle as a children's advocate of being able to write in local newspapers of what I feel should be equity, it soared into resume building and public speaking. And now, again, through intentional short-term and long-term goals, it has evolved so much into international conference speaking, state conferences, professional speaking, speaking engagements locally. I have like 3 already booked in the fall. I'm going to be at a local college for a faculty meeting, a local speaking engagement locally for teen moms, and then a state convention for Nevada. So just a plethora of great things when, again, you set your mindset, you discipline yourself, you structure, you set boundaries, and you let go of anything that is toxic.
That is so powerful. Before we end this show, I want to honor you and acknowledge the work that you have done in K-12 education for the past 20 years. One of the main reasons that I started the My K12 Career Show is to make sure that people like you who are, doing phenomenal things in your community are being showcased and have a voice and have a platform. So I want to honor you for all the work you've done in K-12 education and all the work you're going to continue to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this opportunity and for everything that you're doing to help others.
Thank you so much. We wish you all the best. And I have one request of you. When you get that doctorate, will you come back on the show?
I will do that. And I have one request of you. If you need me to help virtually with anything at your school, you let me know.
I will definitely do that for sure. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Take care.